India-Russia relationship has moved beyond defense, and in fact the 2030 economic cooperation roadmap is going to be very strategic and possibly laid bare this time when the bilateral meet does happen. But Ambassador Manju Seth, this is what I want to ask you, and if my team could put these defining pictures from yesterday on the screen, and this would be one, the hug between the two leaders, breaking of protocol, Prime Minister Modi at the airport. You have the Bhagavad Gita, which is presented by PM Modi to President, and then you have both of them carpooling yet again. You know, this equation, it's not just about the two leaders alone. It's also about two countries that have weathered and roughed out several global events together. It's interesting that neither has India ever taken a stand against Russia, whether it even be at the United Nations. It's always been very clear, and Russia has backed India at very, very key junctures, including today where Putin has gone ahead and said that he will speak to Donald Trump. He will speak to Donald Trump about the 25% excess tariffs on India for trade with Russia, particularly the oil. This is the unfolding relationship between India and Russia. That is very clearly why the world is looking at how the meeting is going to progress today.
Absolutely, very rightly put and very well put, how the world is looking at this evolving and continuing relationship and strengthening of this relationship. And with this visit, as you rightly said, the very special welcome, the break of protocol, and then the kind of body language that we saw for both leaders, very positive. And India and Russia, as you're well aware, have had excellent relationships over the years. A very strong bilateral relation. And of course, there will be some blips occasionally up and down, there have been. But overall, I think it has been a very strong, time-tested friendship and relationship which goes back right to our independence. And I think even in the Soviet and during the Soviet era. And now, if you look at the geopolitical turmoil, the geopolitical environment that is there, it's fast changing, and how Russia has been also is under a lot of pressure by the entire world over the Ukraine war. India has now also become a part of the pressure tactics of some countries. And I think at this point of time, it is a clear signal and a reiteration that this relationship matters. It is important for both of us. Of course, the other relationships are also important, with the other countries, with the US, with Europe, etc. But this is a very important relationship. It matters, and it is in our mutual interest to continue and to strengthen this ties. And the many items on the agenda, the diversification of the items on the agenda, the trade that we are speaking of, investments, maritime, everywhere, the many, and small nuclear modules, nuclear modular reactors to be manufactured or to supply to us. And I think joint manufacturing, innovation, transfer of technology, I think all these aspects are extremely relevant and very important, and will go a long way in strengthening our relationship further. Absolutely, if you look at the sheer number of MOUs that are expected to be signed, is another positive trend. And I think the fact that we are targeting $100 billion is going to be maybe achievable, but yes, it is important that our products and we diversify our export basket and our export items to be able to penetrate the market, because we don't have many products going there right now. But overall, defense, of course, as we already mentioned, is one of the most important, has been one of the most important bilateral trade items or agreements have been very important. But yes, all the upcoming and the new items that we expect to see between the two relations, the agreements that are expected to be signed, will go a long way in making this a special, strategic and privileged partnership and further strengthening our ties. I think we have to, and that's why the world is looking at
Right.
what India and Russia will be discussing. And of course, they will discuss the Ukraine war, they will discuss the tariffs. And at the same time, if you look at the US, it is already talking and trying to find, conclude a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. But at the same time, it continues to pressure India, and not, get back and, and reverse those tariffs.
Right.
So I think is on the table, and it's a very positive and important visit.